Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video here on the Cycling Day and Extra channel, or if you're listening on the podcast. Today, I'm joined by Patrick Blake of Out Cycling, and we're discussing, like we did with Tadej Pogacar's schedule. Now we're going to look at Jonas Vingegaard's schedule that was announced today, actually. So, Patrick, take it away. What is in his schedule?
So, Jonas Vingegaard will begin his season in the Volta Algarve, of all places. I don't think we've ever seen him here before. He usually starts with Gran Camino. That's what he's done the last 2 years, I believe. So, a little bit of a different one. Algarve has definitely got varied terrain. I really like it as a stage race. It usually has that TT in there. So, a good mix of terrain for Jonas to really sink his teeth into. Then he will go to Paris-Nice, which is obviously a very big stage race. And again, I'm not sure. Has Jonas ever won that?
No, he's finished on the podium, and I think he's the only Dane to finish on the podium. And for the Vuelta Algarve as well, Remco's won that, obviously, but Tadej Pogacar's never won that. Well, no, he's won it as well. That was what I was going to say. So maybe Jonas can add his name to that illustrious list of winners.
Yeah. So, yes, Algarve, Paris-Nice. Then we have the Volta Catalunya. Then the Criterium de Dauphiné, which is the only race prior to the Tour that we will see both Jonas and Tadej in the same race at the same time, just because of Jonas's very stage race oriented approach to the season versus Tadej's very one-day race focused approach to the season. Then, of course, he will go to the Tour de France. No questions there, really. And interestingly, he is also down for the Vuelta a España, which is really interesting. There were rumours about him going to the Giro, and I think that already blows my prediction for the year from that video. I think that's already defunct now. But he will go to the Vuelta, which is very interesting. Obviously, Pogacar hasn't announced that he's going to the Vuelta, but like we said in that video, if you haven't gone and watched it, there is certainly space for him to go and do so, because in the latter part of the season, Pogacar only has Il Lombardia down, and I think it's very possible, given that Vuelta starts on the 23rd of August, and Il Lombardia is usually in October. So I think there's ample opportunity where we could well see Jonas and Tadej fighting it out for 2 Grand Tours this year, which would be quite the treat for us cycling fans. There's not a single one-day race in here, Scott, which isn't a huge surprise. But what do you think to Jonas's schedule?
I saw rumors that apparently he's going to the World Championships. The national coach for Denmark has been kind of trying to sway him publicly in the press, but it hasn't really worked. No Ardennes, that's a big shame. We were kind of hoping for that. Other than that, the program is fine. The Giro would have liked to have seen that. Obviously, we said that countless times. Tour of Denmark, he's not going back, unfortunately, or doing what you were thinking, that he was going to go to Tour of Slovenia and win Tadej's home tour just because he could. But it's a pretty bog standard lead up to the Tour. It reminds me a bit of like a Geraint Thomas route to the Tour. I've seen Remco do sort of that kind of program before, but yeah, there's no special exciting thing really in there, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Remco had almost an identical warm-up to the Tour, actually, last year. Apart from, instead of Catalunya, it was Basque Country, which is also notably not on Jonas's schedule this year.
He had enough after that crash. You were like, never again, never again. He's already won it, so it's not like...
Yeah. I'm not sure how many of the big names are even going to Basque Country this year. It seems like maybe last year was a bit of a black mark against their name, so I'm not sure who will be going there. But yeah, Remco had Algarve, Paris-Nice, and the Dauphiné last year, all before doing the Tour. So this is very similar to what Remco did, and he finished 3rd at the Tour with that crash. Jonas finished 2nd at the Tour with that crash as well. So hopefully, without any crashes, this should be a pretty optimal setup for Jonas to do well at the Tour de France, which, in contrast to Pogacar's schedule, which, as we said in that video, more one-day races, more risk involved, lots more kind of argy-bargy in those one-day cobbled races. Jonas's is a bit more of a traditional Grand Tour rider's build-up to the Tour, which is, again, I think people kind of poo-poo Jonas for not doing the one-day races, saying he's not boring, but I like how we have such varying modes of two champions, where we've got both of them who both convene at the Tour, well, at the Dauphiné really, but at the Tour. But their approaches to it are so completely different. They're completely different riders. So we get that anticipation of, are they going to be, how are we going to stack up against each other when it gets to France? And before then, it's all just kind of, trying to guess and see maybe who's in better shape. And I quite like that.
Yeah, I agree. Certainly very different programs, like you said. Yeah, the Jonas one, do you think you'll favor him more by doing more kind of mountain stages, whereas Pogacar will be riding from Ghent to Wevelgem that has 0 mountains? Well, it has the Kemmelberg, but no real high mountains like we probably will have in Volta a Catalunya.
In theory, the build-up for the Tour de France suits Jonas more, just because, like you say, it's going to replicate that sort of mountainous terrain a bit better than anything that Belgium's going to throw at Pogacar. No offense, Belgium. Your racing's good, just in a completely different way. So I think, yes, it probably will favour Jonas a little bit more. I'd be surprised, honestly, if he, on his way to the Tour, didn't win like Paris-Nice and Catalunya. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he wins both of those. What do you think of the Vuelta in there as well? They've already kind of put his name next to it. Jonas hasn't won it in the past. Do you think this is a relatively big goal of his to try and get that win? Or is it like it's the fact that he's already down for it makes it seem like it's not one of those, oh, you've done the Tour and it's a bit of like the afterthought? It's clearly in the plan and it's clearly a decision. It's not just a throwaway Grand Tour that people kind of tend to put the Vuelta's name next to.
I mean, we were kind of hoping that he was going to go to it last year, but he was saying he was so knackered and needed more recovery, but still enough energy to win the Tour of Poland. Yeah, I think he's more laser-like focused. The Vuelta a España was also where he had his first debut at a Grand Tour, where he worked for Roglic, famously on the Angliru, was kind of the shining light. And I think he should definitely try and get the win there. And if Tadej does go, that will be quite good, like you said, to see them actually at 2 Grand Tours in 1 year. But including this team presentation about where he's going, etc., the Tour de France, we haven't really touched on that too much. We talked about that it does suit him, the Hautecam stage, yada, yada, yada. But what did you make of the team announcement? Because they added more riders to the team for the Tour de France selection. So Wout van Aert, obviously, Simon Yates, who's also going to the Giro d'Italia, Jonas Vingegaard, Matteo Jorgensen, Sepp Kuss, Victor Campenaerts, Christophe Laporte, Thies Benoot. I mean, there's not really any surprises in there, you would think. But yeah, that looks like a really solid squad.
It absolutely does. And Visma Lease Bike, also, Jumbo-Visma back in the day, did used to announce these squads like super early in the season, and they do generally stick to them, barring maybe 1 or 2 riders who might crash and might be replaced with somebody like, like Van Hooijdonk back in the day might have been replaced with Benoot or something like that. So I think by and large this will be the squad. So if that is the case, I think it's super strong. UAE will be able to also muster a team which is going to be equally as strong, if not a little bit stronger, possibly. But the thing is, it's so hard to match somebody like Wout van Aert, say, for example. And Jorgensen proved himself to be such a big talent last year, winning Paris-Nice, almost winning a Tour de France stage, top 10 in the Tour de France on his debut. Simon Yates, great addition to the squad, along with Sepp Kuss, who, he's won the Vuelta, just kind of, off the cuff, whatever. Drop that in there as well. It's a super good squad, and I think UAE will be looking at that with like a bit of analysis, going, right, how do we match this, or kind of go one better in some departments.
Yates for Yates.
It's a house. Yeah, Yates for Yates. Yeah, exactly. That's one. Thing is, you got nobody to mark. You got nobody who can do what Wout can do. I don't care what people say. Like, Wout's a whole different kind of breed of rider. I don't think UE have anybody like that. I think UE will be stronger in the mountains, dare I say. I never got Kuss, Jorgensen, and...
Yeah, they will absolutely destroy everyone, I think.
Yeah, but Visma Lease I could put my best foot forward here to support Jonas, and I think it's going to be one heck of a battle when we get to France in July.
But in the Tour de France, it actually didn't come down to the team most of the stages. It was relatively mano a mano for most of the stages. And then now and again, Adam Yates would pop up and do a cameo. And we saw Jorgensen also in there. So...
yeah, but they've both got loads of cards to play. And like you say, sometimes it is just down to like one rider. It's not necessarily the whole team's strength, although there's probably a lot of unsung work which goes on in order to kind of keep people safe and, you know, just the silent work that goes on, the unsung heroes. But I think it's going to be such a good battle. I can't wait to see what UE Team Emirates XRG are going to field in response to this, because we don't have like an official one. They just have names there. You know, Poggy's going to go, Yates will probably go, Narvaez will probably go, Almeida as well, Vellens, maybe Novak. You know, there's a couple of spaces there where I think we need a bit more climbing support in there, because at the moment those UE riders don't match up, I think, to Simon Yates, Jorgensen and Kuss. So we'll see what UE bring out in response, and when that'll be, I don't know. UE tend to keep their cards relatively close to their chest for quite a while.
Which makes sense, because most of the season hasn't been done yet, or any of the season, so you kind of need to feel it. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of bringing this back to the video we're doing, Vingegaard's schedule, so you were saying is quite a good, well, we both agree it's a good lead up to the Tour de France. The Vuelta, yes, that would be really interesting to see as well. But would you want him to have like a Il Lombardia, World Championships, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, some like just any hint of a one-day race? Is that the missing key?
I don't think it is. However much we...
You don't want it. You don't want it. You don't want to see him in Liège.
Really?
Wow.
Thing is, like, right, last year, San Sebastian, Jonas went into it with good form, right, coming out of the Tour. In theory, if there was going to be a race, which was pretty hilly, let's face it, you know, San Sebastian, if there was going to be a one-day race which suits Jonas, it was going to be that. Like, yeah, Il Lombardia would suit him a bit more because it's a bit more mountainous. But the fact that Jonas didn't even... I can't remember where he finished. He either DNF'd or he finished somewhere just so far in oblivion it didn't matter. If Jonas didn't do well in that San Sebastian last year, I don't see any reason why he should go do one-day races. And I know that's painful because we've speculated for so long thinking about whether he could do. But I just think that Jonas is just a stage racer. And people may think that's boring, but he isn't half effective at it. So you can't knock it, really. Why would he go bother bashing his head against the wall doing one-day races when he's not very good at them? It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of the team's resources, a waste of his resources. He may as well just focus on what he's good at, which is mountains.
I mean, if he does win Paris-Nice, then he's won Paris-Nice, Tirreno, Basque Country, and then if he wins the Volta Catalunya, that, and if he decided to change last minute to go to Tour de Suisse and win that, then he would have basically completed most World Tour stage races. Okay, he's won the Tour of Poland as well. Tour of Franche, he's missing that.
Needs to do Romandy.
Oh yeah, Romandy. Okay, yeah. So, I mean...
He's getting there, though.
Yeah, so... But anyways, with that, that's basically it for this video. Just a quick note of what Vingegaard is doing. Of course, as Patrick alluded to, we have talked about Pogacar's program. Check that video out here. Or if you want to see our ridiculous predictions, as it seems it's going to be, check that out here as well. But with that, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one.